the whole time, so feel free to use that chat box, and I will do my best to get those to the panelists after each presentation. Metro United Way is working to lift up our community by really mobilizing people and maximizing our community's resources to advance equity and share opportunities for all. We drive efficiency and impact through our best practice sharing, data-informed decision-making, advocacy, and and accountability for quality and results. We harness the power of donors, volunteers, thought leaders, experts, other nonprofits, and government at all levels to ensure positive sustainability and change. The Ready for K Alliance and Metro United Way are working to ensure that all children enter kindergarten ready to thrive. Together, we are ensuring families have access to high quality care. Children are born healthy with access to resources to maintain healthy development. Families are equipped with the knowledge and understanding of their child's development and are engaged as their child's first teacher. We're also ensuring that institutions, services, and agencies serving children are comprehensive, aligned, and coordinated. We know programming alone can't change the trajectory of a child. We must come together as a community and unite to ensure we are all working towards the same goals, understanding what each other is doing and how to support each other's efforts. Understanding the services that are available in our community is critical to helping our children receive the best support possible in the critical early years. So much has changed over the last 3 years, and Metro United Way felt it would really be helpful for you to hear from some of our community experts on the services that they provide. Last month, we held a community conversation around JCPS First Steps in 7 counties. The recording can be found on our YouTube page, and we're developing other conversations around Head Start in general and also healthy social emotional development. Feel free to use the chat box to ask any questions during the conversation. We will also have an opportunity at the end of the conversation to ask additional questions, share your thoughts with us on the conversation, and suggest any further conversations you'd like to have. This conversation will be recorded, as I said, and a link will be sent to you after the conversation if you need to leave early. Today, we'll be hearing from Tamara Brown with HANDS, Nikki Johnson with Early Head Start, and Mary Jolly with Healthy Start. They will help us understand the differences between their organizations and the services that they provide. We're going to start today with Tamara Brown with HANDS. Tamara is a certified social worker and holds master's degrees in both developmental psychology and social work. She has nearly 20 years of experience working with children and families in multiple capacities. Tamara is passionate about the impact that strong, healthy relationships can have on children's well-being throughout their early lifespan. Tamara began working at HANDS in Family and Children's Place in 2014 as a supervisor and became the director of HANDS program in 2020. Before continuing to HANDS, before being at HANDS, Tamara conducted research on attachment and temperament development between parents and children for Purdue University. Tamara also held the roles of therapist and case manager in foster care and staff training director at Home of the Innocents. Additionally, she held the role of director for foster care and transition living programs at Boys and Girls Haven. Tamara, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kimberly. I'm going to share my screen. And I also wanted to let folks know that I did some questions from Kimberly ahead of time that some folks wanted answered about our program, and I've tried to build those into my presentation as well, so people should be able to get those questions answered, hopefully, as we go through. So to start with, just what is HANDS and where did we come from, I think is really important for people to know. There's a lot of misconceptions about what HANDS does and what our program is for. So I like to let people know how we got started because it helps solidify what we're actually here for. HANDS was started along with First Steps back in the late 90s as part of Kentucky's response to the Federal IDEA Act to address developmental delay. HANDS is a developmental delay prevention program through home visitation. It is available in all 120 counties across the state of Kentucky, and it is free and voluntary for everyone, and that is written into state regulations. It is an evidence-based, voluntary, intensive weekly home visitation program, which is part of what is a little bit different about us. We do every single week. We are also available to every family who is prenatal or under 90 days of age for the child at the time of enrollment. There's no income base. Every family can receive at least one resource visit, and most families are offered ongoing home visitation. And our motto is every parent needs a second pair of hands. Anyone can complete a referral for hands because we are a voluntary statewide program. So there are lots of different ways to complete a referral for hands. And I did send some of that information to Kimberly that I think is going to get shared out as well. We can use an online referral link, but we also do paper referrals, still email referrals, phone calls, however people would like to refer. All services are provided at no cost, and our focus is on babies achieving developmental milestones, as well as parents gaining skills and confidence to help babies grow. A couple of questions came through about our referral process, so I wanted to talk about those on the screen too. A couple of folks asked if they make a referral through our online system, will we forward it? Absolutely. We have really good relationships with the surrounding counties, and we also have contact information for every county across Kentucky because we all provide hands. So we can always forward referrals along to the appropriate county if we get somebody that's not Jefferson County. Family and Children's Place only provides Jefferson County hands. All other hands programs are provided through the health department of their district or county. We will always forward those on. When we're doing home visits, we provide ASQ screeners every 2 months, beginning at 2 months of age if we can open the child early enough, or 4 months of age if they open a little later. We do Edinburgh depression screeners for parents 3 times throughout the program. We do child-proofing checklists for every family at multiple times as well in order to support the family's needs. After a referral is made, the family is contacted within 7 days by a hand staff member. That's 7 days of the date of the referral. I will let people know that there are times where we run a little bit behind just because of staffing issues like everybody else, but we do our best to get that 7 days to schedule an initial visit. During an initial resource visit, and this is the universal piece that anybody can access, a hands parent visitor goes out to the home and assesses the needs of the family. And then during that visit, they're given resources in the community to meet the needs of the family. Most often those resources do include weekly hands visitation, but sometimes they don't. Most of the time they do, in which case, I mean, over 90% of the referrals that we assess are offered hands visitation. Again, we don't have an income base and we don't have a lot of strict regulations. We do a KEMP scale, which people can look up if you're interested in it. It's a 10 area scale where each thing throughout the lifespan can score. What I always like to let people know for sure is I screen and score positive into the program. I have several degrees. I have a stable home. I run the program and I still score positive. So there's no reason not to refer somebody because our job is to be there just to provide support, make sure babies are meeting their milestones. If a person is offered ongoing home visitation services, then a family support worker will reach out to contact them to engage in those weekly home visits. They come out to help with parenting skills like recognizing baby's needs, what to expect as baby grows, making the home safe, any questions or concerns babies might have. During our weekly home visits, we use a curriculum that is evidence-based to go over developmental milestones and how to stimulate baby within those milestones. So I've got some pictures here of babies during home visits making toys. We do found object toys with families that will stimulate 6 areas of development. And so that's kind of what some of these pictures are about, like using something as simple as a formula can to do, this is what we call lots of lids. And then we use lids and show babies how to put them in and understanding space. It's also called in the can. There's 2 different ways we can do it. Families who participate fully in the program also receive incentives for participation, but our incentives are small things: diapers, board books, child-proofing kits, developmental toys, We don't typically provide large value items because those are things that we would have to have grant funding for. Occasionally, we can provide pack and plays or car seats or things like that. That is not our primary focus. And so that's not something we like to promote unless we have them in the moment for the families in the program. In addition to home visits, we do a variety of group events. So we do a summer picnic, a holiday party in the winter. Last year, we did our first trunk or treat along with early Head Start. We do program graduations and other events throughout the program. I also got some questions about engagement of fathers. We can engage any parent. It doesn't have to be the mother. Prenatally, we primarily work with mothers just because they're the ones with the baby. However, we can work prenatally with fathers also, even if they're not engaged in a relationship with mom. There are some specifics around that, how that looks. It's a little less intensive prenatally. We will do that. As far as engaging fathers postpartum, we love to work with dads. And we have lots of dads who engage in the program, some with mom, some without, and that's okay. Our only stipulation is baby has to be with the parent at the time of our visit, because our visit is about teaching the parent skills to engage with the baby, and it's really hard to do that if baby's not present. So some brief outcomes about what HANDS is doing, because what's really awesome is over the past 24 years that we've been around, in addition to developmental delay prevention, we have a lot of really cool outcomes for families outside of that. All families or all children engaged receive developmental screening on a regular basis. 94% of families who receive HANDS met their developmental milestones, which is really huge. 99% had a medical home and 98% were up to date on immunizations. None of our families last fiscal year had any substantiated abuse or neglect, which is really significant when you're looking at children under the age of 2 in Kentucky. We will serve any language. We will find a way to make it work. We have a great relationship with KRM, and they have been able to be essential in helping us communicate with families who are non-English speakers or limited English proficiency. We also have 5 bilingual staff who are Spanish speaking to be able to serve that community. 97% of babies whose families participated in HANDS last year were read to or told stories daily, which compared with 37% of children under 2 across the state is a lot of babies. So we're getting that early literacy for families. We serve over 400 families a year. 95% of our birthing parents who received HANDS prenatally were able to deliver without medical complications. We measure prenatally within the 2nd trimester they enroll, so not in that last trimester. 61% of mothers continue breastfeeding until at least 6 months, and all of our families are screened for perinatal depression at multiple times. That's my kind of quick little slideshow, unless there were other questions, Kimberly, that came through.
There aren't any additional questions right now.
Okay.
But feel free to put more questions in the chat and we will get to them at the end if you do have additional questions. I have placed the HANDS rack card, both English and Spanish, into the chat, so you can download that there. And we also have the HANDS referral form that's also downloadable from there. You'll also get an email with all this information plus the slides at the end. So.
And very quickly, the rack card is client facing, so it is meant to be given to clients, and there is a QR code on there that will take you to the referral form. Again, since anybody can refer within HANDS, families can complete that referral form themselves, or it can be completed for them.
Thank you very much for all the great information and the work that you do. Next, we have Mary Jolly. Mary Jolly completed her master's in social work in 2022. After spending 4 years as the manager of Healthy Start program, Mary has just stepped into a new role as the strategic partnership administrator for the Center of Health Equity, housed in the Louisville Metro Department of Public Health and Wellness. It's a mouthful, but Mary, we're very excited for you. And Mary believes the strategic partnerships allow us to bring resources and expertise all over the community with research and data to develop better solutions to big problems. Mary, it's all yours.
Good morning, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, so I am going to pull up my PowerPoint and get us started. Okay. All right. So hello, I am Mary Jolly. I am, just like Kimberly said, I recently stepped out of my role for working with Louisville Metro Healthy Start, but am still very, very passionate about this program and was grateful that I was able to talk to you guys about it today. So a lot of the things that you're going to see on the slide are very similar to hands. Tamara and I have this conversation all the time. Yes, it's very similar, but there are so many things that we both offer in our program. So we're really glad to have this conversation and to really help people understand what we each do. So our mission is for all families to have a healthy start, and we do that through education, empowering, and support. So Healthy Start has been around since 1998. It is a federally funded program that was offered due to data in our community that showed that the infant mortality rates in our community were significantly different between white and Black babies in our city. And the infant mortality rate is the rate of the rate that children die under 1 compared to the births in the city. And so when you look at the data, it showed that there was at least a 2 or 2.5 times higher rate for Black and brown babies to die than white babies. And so because of that, this program was created federally and it was offered nationally, and we were able to compete for that grant and have had the grant since 1998. So the criteria for the grant is that you have to live in one of the zip codes. So HANDS is an all county, all state approach. Our approach is really looking at the zip codes that really had that 2.5 times disparity. So those zip codes, when we got the data, were 40203, 40208, 40210, 40211, and 40212. And this is a little map of what those neighborhoods look like, because most people don't really know what their zip code is, but they can tell you exactly what their neighborhood is. So this is, that area, all of that west of 9th Street. And then we also are able to work with Smoketown and Shelby as well, because those fall into the 40203 area as well. The other criteria is that you just have to be expecting and have a child under 18 months of age. So if you live in any of these areas and you have a child under 18 months and you have or you are currently pregnant, then we are able to enroll you in the program. We don't have a 90-day window like HANDS does. We're able to enroll families postpartumly all the way up to about 16 months is kind of where we cut that off, because we want to be able to still offer support and feel like we're able to meet the needs of those families as much as we can. So we think 16 months is probably a good cutoff for that. But we also know that things are case by case as well. So we're able to look at our leadership team and make those decisions. And if there's a 16.5-month-old, we're able to look at that too. So home visiting services is what we offer, just like HANDS does, but ours are once a month. Our moms are screened for postpartum depression at many different intervals throughout working with them. So that's the Edinburgh that I know that Tamara mentioned as well. So we offer that screener as well upon intake, and then throughout the entire postpartum 18 months with the family. We have registered nurses and social workers who help fill out intake forms for us and do the really big deep dive into the family's needs. And then they will look at the risk level of that and assign that as needed. So if we have a mom who has some medical needs that are not being met, we think are not being controlled, like maybe there's some gestational diabetes that's been discovered and mom just found out and mom's having some concerns about that, then she's able to continue to work with our nurses that we have. Or if we have a mom who is in the middle of crisis and just found out that they're about to have an eviction, or they're not feeling secure about their food level, then we can leave them with our social worker as well. If mom is not in panic mode and not really in that stressed out mode that we level, then we're able to assign them to our resource worker, and our resource worker will work with them on a monthly basis. The idea is that it's a team approach. So if anything comes up, if the resource worker is working with a mom and then mom discovers that there's something going on that might need a higher consultant to look at, then we will look at that and we will work with the resource worker or with the social worker and the nurse as well. So our prenatal visits focus on pregnancy progression and making sure that everything's going okay. A really big thing that we look at is mental health for our mom. We know that mental health is really important for mom and for dad, and we'll talk more about our fathers in just a minute. And just making sure that they have what they feel is the appropriate amount of education, so that when they go to those doctor's appointments, they can make, they can advocate for themselves. They can talk about their birth plan and feel comfortable about that. They can feel supported in that conversation. Postpartum visits, we're going to look at mental health again as well, because we know that that postpartum depression can kick in and can, really affect the way that mom is interacting with baby and the whole family. Actually, we'll look at infant milestones, and then we'll also help to set goals for the family while they're in the program. And then after kind of that 1 year part, we're looking at bonding milestones, and then, are they interested in having more children? Do we need to have a conversation about, is mom wanting to go back to school and deciding to put things off? So we'll have those conversations and look at just setting career goals and life goals for them, and so that they feel comfortable in their decision-making process. Some of the topics that we talk about are safe sleep. We provide pack and plays for those that need them. We know that having a safe sleep environment, a pack and play or a crib or a bassinet, and placing baby on their back is the safest way for a baby to sleep, and helps prevent the occurrences of SIDS or a SUID death. We offer breastfeeding support. We're really proud that we have several CLCs and CLEs on our staff, so they can answer those questions about breastfeeding. And then we have an amazing partnership with our Louisville WIC breastfeeding program as well. And then car seat safety. We have several car seat techs now on staff that provide families with the correct way to install their car seats. So we feel really comfortable about that as well. Some of the events we've been able to have. So, obviously this is the typical thing, right? During COVID. Well, during COVID, we didn't offer these things, but we're really glad that we have been able to reestablish these for 2022 and looking forward to 2023. So we have a community baby showers. We have those once a month. We have been offering those probably for the past 6 or 7 months and have had great turnout for our families to come learn about those educational topics, talk to other moms who are also pregnant or postpartum, and just kind of build their village, and then also offer resources at the same time. So we've had people like Hands and Granny's Birth Initiative. We've had several of our MCO partners come and present just to share resources and information to all of our families. And if we have a family member who comes who doesn't qualify for our program, we don't turn them away. We offer some support as well. And then we will actually enroll them in Hands if they qualify for Hands and they're not in our area. So we know the importance of home visitation. And so we make it a priority to make sure that we refer everybody. And then the other thing that we were able to do in 2022 was start our parenting cohort. So our social worker and one of our resource workers worked really hard to create kind of a curriculum to really look at positive parenting. And so they did a 6-week series, and then they did a 4-week series of working with our families and setting goals and having a vision board and just learning about the different ways that that we can parent and we can support our children. And that will be picking back up in 2023 as well. One of the greatest things we have about our Healthy Start program is that, yes, we have an amazing staff, but we also have amazing participants who are really dedicated to continuing the work for our program and continuing to support our program. So we have what's called our Healthy Start Advisory Committee. It's former and current participants. They have been in existence for over a decade, and some of them have been there as long, and some of them are just as new and have started 3 weeks ago with us. So we're excited to offer this as an opportunity for them to advise management on recruiting, to offer suggestions for policies for Healthy Babies Louisville, which is a collective in our community, and then also doing event planning. And then especially this year, we'll be asking them for guidance on as we write for the new grant, because it'll be time to write our new grant for the next 5 years. And then they get to work with management on program suggestions and voice be the voice of the community that we serve. So we ask them to share what they're seeing out there, how they're feeling out there, and we're really grateful for the input that they provide to the team. As I mentioned, we work with our fathers. So we have a 502 Fathers section of our program. We are grateful that Shelton McElroy is our fatherhood coordinator. He provides father case management. He's going to do some education classes and offer support. So when we have a mom who wants dad to be involved because they are co-parenting, but they're not in a relationship, they'll offer some information about dad, and then we can enroll dad. We've also got several single fathers that we're seeing. Has been a kind of a trend lately of dads reaching out and just needing some extra support. And so Shelton's been able to work with them on paternity issues, custody issues, and just, being another ear, because he also knows what it's like to be a single dad at some point. He was also that. And so he's got great experience in the community and shares that. So how to enroll? You can send referrals to this email address, and I'll put it in the chat box too as well. And then you can also call our number at 574-6661 and leave your information. We do self-referrals, we do community referrals. We've got great partnerships with pediatrics offices, OBGYNs. Our managed care providers are also sending us referrals, but the ones we really like to see are those word of mouth referrals, those self-referrals from our community. So please reach out to us. And I will stop sharing and see if there's any questions.
Thank you, Mary. I have a couple of questions that we'll go over for everybody at the end. But if you would like to submit additional questions for Mary, please feel free to do that in the chat at this time. You will have an opportunity at the end again. Want to introduce you next to Nikki Johnson. Nikki has been serving the Jefferson County community for over 20 years. She is currently the program director of Early Head Start Home-Based Services with Family and Children Place and Greater Louisville Head Start. She manages the home-based program, which serves expectant moms and children under the age of 3 in their home. Previous to her role, Nikki worked with JCPS, Head Start, TAP, and DCBS. Nikki, it's all yours.
Thank you, Kimberly. Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Okay, and I need you to be patient because this is the first time I've shared in Zoom. I've shared on another one. Okay. Screen share. So can everyone see my screen? Yes, okay. Well, like she said, I am the Director of Early Childhood Services with Family and Children's Place and the Program Manager for Greater Louisville Head Start. And we are currently enrolling. I think I saw that as one of the questions for everyone that came through. We are always enrolling. We're always accepting people into the program. I shared some information with Kimberly, our QR code and flyers in both English and in Spanish. And I also shared with her a referral form if anyone is interested in making a referral for a family or mother, expectant mom in our program. So, okay, the Early Head Start program is a home-based program. We come into the home on a weekly basis to do information, to share information with the parents and the children. Powerful research has been evidence that tells us that the period between birth and 3 is a crucial time for healthy growth and development. This home-based program provides early childhood experiences for the family in the home. We promote positive parent and child relationships. We also promote school readiness with goals that focus on the child's development, social, emotional, cognitive, and language development. We also support the parents in goal setting, as well as recognizing them as that child's first teacher in the home. We promote healthy and well-being for the entire family. So we try to support the entire family. Many times parents have questions about what to do or how to register another child in a school, or questions on how to handle a situation, and we try to support that entire family. We give them in-home activities and lessons to be working on their child's development, as well as offer 2 times a month socialization opportunities. where we will offer things in the community to them. We will set up in a park, and it's usually outside of the community where they are normally in, someplace else, to expose them to other opportunities. We have been to the zoo, to the farm, the pumpkin patch, the museums, different things like that. And we also reach out to different people in the community to see if we can get different experiences for our families, to expose them to different things throughout the year. Like I said, we also center those socializations around information that the parents say that they want. If a parent is having problems with potty training, we may have information about potty training and how we go about that. We give those parents an opportunity to meet other people from our program in the meetings, and for them to be able to discuss what they're going through as far as potty training and their experiences, as well as giving them resources. We may give them a potty chair and a book, to read with the child. We go over budgeting if they say that budgeting is an issue, and we reach out to a organization in the community, a bank or credit union, and they'll give us information on how to set up a budget, and we'll give that to our families. We offer them opportunities for healthy eating. We've had farmers in the community come, and we've had healthy produce to give to them, as well as positive discipline, giving them information on difficult behaviors that they may have in the home. If the behavior is a difficult behavior that is beyond normal development for a child, we also have the opportunity to make referrals to our Ellis in our program, who works with children that may have difficult behaviors, as well as supporting that parent in how to handle those. These are some of the benefits of our early Head Start program, birth to 5, the health and wellness. We all talk about that, and getting them out, like I said, in the community to expose them to different things outside of the home. I know with COVID, that was a really big problem. We were doing it virtually. We made that accessible for all of our families. And so where we were able to get back out in the community, they were very excited to go out to different places and to be out and amongst people. And so also connecting them socially to other people, as well as connecting them to resources in the community, is always important, so they don't have to search. We have that information right there for them. We also have information and access to children with who are differently abled, connecting those families and helping to support them and helping them to see how they can be their child's voice, that child's advocate throughout their educational process, K through 12. We do goal setting for that child and for the parent. So we try to mirror different experiences for that parent so that they can set goals for themselves and attain those. We had a parent recently who had set out to do nursing school. And so she sent pictures. I didn't even know she was that close, but she sent pictures of her graduation. And she was really proud to reach that. And it means something for them to reach those goals. So sometimes they're not as big as graduating from nursing school, but they may be something small, like starting my resume, or going out to get a job, finishing my GED, setting a routine in the home for that child. Those are some of the things that we work on with the parents. We also promote early literacy. Just about every socialization, we give parents books. They have the opportunity to increase their library in their home so that they can read to their child on a daily basis. They snap pictures of them reading and their child sitting there, and you can really tell the difference of when they start in the program and they're not used to reading, and now they know when mom opens the book to come and get in my lap, it's time to read. The parent participation is important in the program, to have the parents participate in the home while you're doing the visit, as well as during socialization, them having a voice to say what's going on or to talk about things that may be difficult in their home. But we also have parents participate in our policy council. And so we elect 2 people to represent home base for our policy council, and they go in and talk about program planning. At the at a higher level with our centers and with some of the higher administrators of this program. They also have the opportunity to travel with us when we go to different conferences and things like that. So exposing them to that, allowing them to be able to use their voice is going to be really important. So we really stress that for our parents to participate in that. And any parent, male or female, mother or father, can participate in that. As far as a fatherhood program, we have a lot of fathers that participate in our program already, but we are currently starting a fatherhood program for all of our services, because we have a center-based program as well. So we use the center-based and the home-based program to bring this together. So I know that they're taking referrals for fathers who are interested in that. So they are currently, interest forms, I'm sorry, who are currently doing that. So they are in the process of forming that committee as we speak. We also work with expectant moms. We are just recently opening that up to expectant moms. So if anyone knows anyone in the community, please reach out to us. We're hoping to be able to support them throughout their pregnancy. As Tamara and I think Mary stated, we only do one postpartum and a postpartum and a expectant mom. As soon as they come in our program, we do the Edinburgh screening with them. And we only meet with our expectant moms once a month, but we check in with them weekly. And we just want to give them support to let them know that they're not alone, giving them access to resources, nutrition, information, mental health, as well as following their pregnancy to make sure that they have a healthy pregnancy. And they also will have the opportunity to enroll their child in our program once they give birth. Again, like I said, the main thing, the purpose is to give our parents the opportunity to make sure that their child is ready for school. We talk about the brigance with their parents and what the brigance is and how it'll want their child to be prepared for kindergarten. So just making sure that the parent has the tools to be able to advocate for their child. We also, like I said, one of the things that we stress is social emotional learning, just making sure that that parent and that child are on the same page and the child can read cues and know how to behave, can acclimate behaviors, especially, when it's a small child and they may have older siblings and everything. We just want them to be able to, when they are going to JCPS, be prepared and ready for school. We encourage the entire family to participate. So when we go to outings, we give out circus tickets or a ticket to the zoo. We want to encourage the entire family. And during those times, we offer food for those families as well as tickets for the entire family. Like I said, we invite the entire family to participate always. Who is eligible for our Early Head Start program? Any resident of Jefferson County, despite what zip code they come from, are eligible for our program. Children who are placed in foster care, children who are in families who are without homes, children who are differently abled, families who receive assistance, TANF, SSI, SNAP, expectant moms, and children birth to 2.5. Our program is an income-based program, so they would have to meet the income requirements to be placed in our program. And the application process can be lengthy if the parent is not staying on top of it and making sure that they have all the information in. I did share with Kimberly the things that need to be turned in during the application process. And so if you're prepared, when you come to do an application in person, which you can, or you can do it online, just making sure that you submit all of your paperwork at the same time is probably going to be the fastest route to get enrolled into this program. Let's see, anything that I left out. I think that's all. I did share the information, like I said. There's our QR code at the end of the PowerPoint, but our flyer has all of the things that a parent would need to apply for our program. So if anyone has any questions, we look forward to serving you.
Thank you very much, Nikki. I am
Kimberly, you're muted.
You'd think after 3 years I'd know how to unmute, you know? Thank you. I put Nikki's information in the chat, so if you need to contact her, you can contact her directly. The other panelists have also been, emails has been put in there, and I also put in both the flyers that she referenced into the chat as well for Healthy Start and for HANDS and for the Early Head Start program as well. So I have several questions from folks. I want to start with the most recent one. This is a question for all panelists. Is immigration status a requirement for these programs?
For ours, it is not. We do work with individuals who are in the United States undocumented, and that is not a problem for us.
We also work with anyone regardless of their status.
And that goes for us as well. Yes, we
Do they
it's
don't need
open.
any, they don't need any documentation or social security numbers for the
Nope.
children?
We don't ask for it.
You mentioned the breastfeeding rates. Are you assisting parents in breastfeeding as their journeys as well? And this is for all panelists.
For us, we provide education on benefits and your rights in breastfeeding and encourage breastfeeding, but we don't actually work directly with any lactation consultants. We will make referrals and help families connect to lactation assistance as needed. But within our scope of practice, that's a little outside of what we do other than the education piece.
Mary?
So for us, we have an amazing breastfeeding support team. So we, our nurse supervisor is a CLC, our administrator is a CLC. I previously was the manager, I was a CLC. We've got several CLEs that are on the team, and actually the rest of the team is being trained to be CLEs, I think, in the next couple of weeks. So we really focus on breastfeeding and breastfeeding support. We work with the Louisville WIC program and their lactation manager specifically. She comes into the baby showers and talks about breastfeeding and shares information. And then we also have a good directory that we reach out to if we need to find an IBCLC.
And Nikki, do you have any breastfeeding supports?
We just have support as far as information and connecting you with other agencies that would do that. No, we don't.
And for Nikki, this is again for you. For Head Start, what is the frequency of the home visits?
We visit on a weekly basis. 90 minutes a weekly visits.
Can each of you touch briefly on how you do the transitions out of your programs for families when they age out?
So for Head Start, our transition starts at 2.5. That's why it's kind of difficult for Tamara's kids to come into my program, is because they're coming out of hers a little bit under that. And so they'd only be with me a really short time. But at 2.5, we start the application for them to transition into one of our centers. We have 6 centers throughout Jefferson County. And so we do start that process. We have the parent visit with the center as well. And they make a choice of which center is going to be closest to them, or, you know, if it's convenient to their work or whatever the case may be. And then they go from there. And if there's placement, if there's an opportunity to get right in that center as far as enrollment, that's where they will go. So we plan by 3 that's when they will transition over.
All right. Next question is for everybody. Can you talk about your current enrollment? I know you touched a little bit on the number of you serve each year, but do you have capacity to serve more? And what is the capacity to do that? And how many openings specifically are in Early Head Start right now?
So at this time, so I have capacity right now to enroll in our home-based program. We are training new staff, and that has been a part of the problem is, you know, we have staff for a while and then so the turnover rate. So we have the capacity to serve 108 is what we're supposed to be able to serve. But right now, I'd say we could probably serve around 75, and our current enrollment is like 20 right now. Because we're constantly, as soon as they turn 3, we're transitioning them out. So.
And Tamara and Mary, what about the capacity for you guys? Do you have a limit on the number you can serve?
We have an unlimited ability. As long as we can bring in enough staff to serve people, we will serve as many people as possible. Because of our funding, which we can be funded through Medicaid if a family has Medicaid, and if not, we're part of the tobacco settlement funds for the state. And we also have some federal grant money coming in. It gives us the ability to serve up to 10,000 families a year, which we're never going to get close to. And that's okay. We serve between 400 to 500 most years.
Okay. Now, everybody's mentioned the postpartum depression. Have you all seen an increase with COVID?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we've seen an increase significantly in mom and in dad. You know, we've got a lot of fathers that are also suffering as well. And so, yes, the isolation, the fear, the unknown, and it definitely has caused an issue with mental health.
I would say for us the same thing, but it is actually slowing down now. The first year and a half, we saw a significant spike in our screenings, and made as many referrals as possible. But of course, during that first year and a half, everything was telehealth for most people, and it was really difficult to get the same level of support families typically get, not only to prevent mental health issues, but also to help assist when those are identified. But we have seen numbers going down on our end. I don't know if other people have seen that as well, but things seem to be improving a bit as we've been back in person for a little over a year. Well, a little over a year, it's been over a year and a half now. We've been back in person. And we've also been able to identify some other providers back in person, and I feel like that's helped a lot.
So I would say, although we weren't giving people the Edinburgh at the time, people were asking for help. They were coming out just asking, could we help them with that? Not so much just the isolation, but just the whole state of everybody's mental health was just declining. But I like Tamara just said, I think that has changed a little bit. I think we're now starting to recover a little bit, and we're not seeing it as much. But you know, with the state of our community being the way that it is, there's still a need. There's still a huge need.
I know you mentioned about the parent advocacy groups and things at the early childhood has also the advocacy group as well. Do you have any peer-to-peer supports that are directly linking families together, like an older person in the program to a new enrollee, anything like that?
We don't have a peer-to-peer, like an older family. We just noticed that during our parent committee meeting that we have that's prior, it's about 15 minutes long. And that's where, you know, parents can voice any concerns. They have the opportunity to talk and connect with each other. And so that has been really helpful as far as even giving like job referrals to each other, or, you know, tips on potty training and things like that. It's not, we don't have a set aside peer-to-peer, but that seems to be the time that they seem to connect with one another.
The next question is around income. I know, Nikki, you had mentioned that income is a basis for your program. And generally speaking, if you qualify for WIC, you can qualify for Early Head Start. Tamara, I'm just correct. This is more of a making sure that I am correct. You do not have an income based. Pretty much anyone who meets that criteria on your screener is eligible. And then Mary, you just have those zip codes that I placed in the, so there's no income basis on those two. Okay. How did people learn about your program? That's for everybody.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. For us, we also do rounds on labor and delivery floors to educate families who have recently given birth about our program. And like Mary mentioned, for her too, we have really great relationships with a lot of OB and pediatric providers in the community. Good relationships with other social service agencies like La Casita, Kentucky Refugee Ministries, places like that will refer. And the other thing is great relationships with Healthy Start. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is people can be dual enrolled in Hands and Healthy Start at the same time.
Well, that's a great opportunity for families as well, since all of these programs are such wonderful resources for families. One of the questions we have is there's an agency that they do have some parent groups and would like maybe one of you to come out and talk to their parent groups. Would that be a possible presentation you would be able to do?
Head Start, absolutely.
Yeah, we're all nodding. Yeah, yeah.
And how about interpretation? Would you be able to bring a Spanish interpreter with that?
I have several Spanish speaking staff members, so we could have somebody who speaks Spanish actually lead that for sure.
I could too.
Healthy Start can as too.
And if we want to refer people to, for instance, your baby showers, how do we go about doing that? How do we know that when the baby showers are?
So we've been sharing those with our partners. We haven't made it like a big wide known thing because we want to make sure we can still support it. I'm afraid it's going to get massive if we make it a huge community event, but we share it with our community partners that do our vendor tables. So we share it with Hands, we share it with our managed care providers, so like Passport and Anthem. We just kind of share it on social media a little bit. So we've actually shared a little bit more than we have before in the past, and it's tomorrow. So we'll see how the turnout goes. And, if we get a lot of families that might be able to be in Healthy Start, and if not, we'll get those Hands families and we'll enroll them. So, oh, and Lindsay just put the RSVP down in the chat box. Thanks, Lindsay.
One of the other questions we have is around the application process. So once they're referred, once one of our agencies makes a referral, what does that look like for parents specifically?
For us, we call them within 7 days and we schedule an initial assessment and we come to their home and go from there. And like I said, that initial assessment is actually a resource visit. So even if we've had families before say, I don't think I can commit to every week. In which case, if they're in the right zip code, we can refer them to Mary or in Healthy Start, or to other resources in the community if they're not interested in the intensity of our programming.
Yeah, for us, we will contact them after we get the referral. They'll be assigned to a nurse or a social worker, and then they will make a contact. They'll do the intake on the phone because the visit is a little bit longer, and we know that families are still kind of leery about us being in their home for over an hour or so. So we do that, and then they are assigned a resource worker, and that person will meet with them monthly.
So if we received a paper referral, we'd get in contact with them and set up a time for them either in their home or they can come in the office to complete an application. If they started an application online and completed it to a certain point, we would get a notification from that online service letting us know that they've completed it, and we would give them a call to complete that application with them either in the home or in the office.
Now, in terms of COVID protocols, are you all doing what the family requests? Do you have any protocols that are standard for your organizations? Do you also have the opportunity to do hybrid if the family chooses?
Ours is at the family's comfort level right now. We've been back in the home since, almost 2 years at this point. And so since May of 2021, and around February of last year, we just went to the comfort level of the family, and we can do hybrid if needed. Usually we do that if somebody's ill, baby's in the NICU, things like that.
And we're the same way. It's just at their parents' comfort level. If they know that, we've been out of town or if someone came back from Christmas, it's kind of up to them which way they want to go. We give them the opportunity to choose.
Yeah, that goes for us as well. We've been kind of doing what the parent chooses. We've been doing virtual, at least. I try not to do telephonic. We want to be able to see their faces and see the baby's faces. So we've been doing virtual sessions. And then when our resource workers see them in the community, when they give them their incentive items, they try to have engagement conversations while they're with them. So that's how we've been doing that.
I have 2 more questions for you. So for the people that are participating, if you have any burning questions, make sure you get them in the question and answer chat box or the actual chat. Nikki, can you explain the differences between Family and Children's Place and Greater Louisville Head Start? Are they one and the same, or are they different? Or I know there's a lot of confusion around that.
So Family and Children's Place is the grantee. They hold the grant. And Greater Louisville Head Start is the actual Head Start program. Family and Children's Place holds the grant. That's all.
And your email address is actually Family and Children's Place.
It is, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And Family and Children's Place is the umbrella agency that Hands falls under also, which is why Nikki and I cannot run our programs concurrently because we fall under the same umbrella agency.
Okay. The last question is, well, there's now another one in the chat. The last question is if you could please share the details about the baby shower. If you have a flyer, you can email me, or if you can pop that flyer in the chat, that would be great. And then finally is tell us how you coordinate with First Steps.
For us, First Steps is our sister program. We were created at the same time by the state. I always tease that somebody thought they were really clever with hands and feet, and thought that was a really great way to prevent developmental delay, apparently. And so we have a good working relationship as far as when we complete an ASQ, if there is any sign of potential delay, then we make that referral with them and we coordinate to get an initial assessment completed.
The same with us. If we see that there is a problem that comes up on the ASQ, we just make a referral straight to First Steps. And or we have someone in our agency that also will do that. Is our Ellis. They make that referral.
And for us, we just make a referral. So we when we talk to the family stresses their concerns. We tell them to also talk to their pediatrician and make sure that they're stressing their concerns to their pediatrician. And then we just offer a resource.
And then my final question I just lost. So I'm going to go ahead and put the contact information for everybody in the chat. So you have that information. We also have an evaluation that we'd love for you to do. And in that evaluation, it gives you a place where you can identify any other areas that you would like to have conversations around. I know there's been a lot of talk about positive discipline and challenging behaviors, social emotional development. So we're working to try to develop that. And as I mentioned, we hopefully will have in February a Head Start, which is the 3 to 5 area. A conversation around that as well. So I'd like to thank all of the panelists for being here today. And please do try to do that evaluation for us. That gives us some information on whether or not we should continue with these programs and these conversations. So we'd love to have your information and your input. Lastly, I am the developmental screening manager with Metro United Way. If you utilize the Ages and Stages questionnaire, I am someone that you can ask questions for and questions to about the Ages and Stages questionnaires. If you have questions about referrals, I can also help with that. So my information is in that list of contact information as well. We also have a ASQ portal. So if you have questions about the ASQ and how to administer getting the kits and materials, you can use the portal that I've just put in there to ask your questions. I hope everybody's found this valuable, and I look forward to looking forward to your evaluations in my inbox. So I hope everybody has a great week, and we look forward to the next conversation. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you, guys. I hope you have a great day, and I really appreciate all your information. It's very valuable to the